On this episode of Best in Kamloops, we prepare and compare 2 Christmas recipes. Will they be tasty treats?
I can taste the air. I don't want to call a contest right now, but this is looking tasty.
Or will it be a Christmas disaster?
What was that? Don't smell it. It stinks. It's looking a little strange, so if you know why this is looking like this, feel free to let me know in the comments. Hey, buddy.
That's all coming up next on this episode of Best in Kamloops.
The first Christmas baking treat is chocolate marshmallow pie, sent in by our fan Charles W. Charles W. left us this message for his recipe. I believe my recipe makes a tasty dessert for Christmas because it's made of chocolate and marshmallows. Can't go wrong. I'm submitting this dessert to hopefully share it with others around the world. Charles, I hope you're correct. I hope there's more viewers around the world and a ton in Kamloops watching this, and hopefully they can enjoy your chocolate marshmallow pie. Let's get to the recipe. Okay, first recipe we've got is the chocolate marshmallow pie. Here are the ingredients. It seems like a fairly simple recipe, but we're gonna get it prepared, show you guys how to make it. So if you're sitting around at Christmas time at home, wondering what to do, hungry, looking for a treat, this is something you can make. Again, stay tuned to the end to find out what we think of the recipe and see how it goes head to head with our next contestant submission for the Christmas treat challenge. Here we go. All right, looks like the first step in the recipe. So first thing it says, we're gonna beat the cream cheese into a bowl with an electric mixer. Now I have one of these electric mixers. You may not have one at home. You can just use a hand whisk or a spoon and whip up the whipped cream. Probably a hand whisk would be best if you don't have a mixer. Let's get the cream cheese whipped up. Okay, it says 125 grams packet of cream cheese. I don't know if the camera can see it here. It says 125. Cut this bad boy in half. And what I've done is I've let this cream cheese sit out for a bit so it's not rock solid. Plopped in here. Let's get this thing whipped up here. So I bought a pre-made pie shell. So we're actually gonna bake this shell prior. Usually the directions say on the back, bake it. So we're gonna get the oven heated up, get this pie shell baked early, and we'll be ready to fill it with our cream cheese and chocolate filling once we get around to it. So I'm just gonna preheat the oven to 400 degrees, let it heat up, and then, and then get this pie shell baked, pre-bake it, because you don't want to dump in your topping to a frozen pie shell. Okay, I kind of like where this cream cheese is at. I don't know if you can see that, but it's whipped. Definitely looks like more like frosting. And the next thing we need to do is we need to melt down the marshmallows and melt down the chocolate. And here's how the recipe suggests that we do it. So we're gonna put a little water in here, in this little pan, then we're gonna put the glass bowl over top. We're gonna put the marshmallows and chocolate in here, melt it, because the last thing you wanna do with chocolate is heat it too quickly, and then it turns clumpy, and then you can't reverse and go back and you're in big trouble. So you want to slowly melt chocolate, slowly melt marshmallows. That's what we're going to do. Okay, looks like the recipe asks for 100 grams milk chocolate. Let's get that weighed out here. You might have recognized this scale if you've watched some of my in-studio pizza reviews. I've used this scale. And I'll put that aside. And we need 100 gram pack of white marshmallows chopped. So I didn't go with the big marshmallows. I didn't want to chop them. I went with these mini marshmallows instead. Hopefully you can see that. Just want to taste test these. Make sure they're not poisoned before they go in the recipe. They're pretty good here. Might have to get the toothpicks out. Build a giant house with these things. Boom, look at that. Exact pump right there. 100 grams mini marshmallows. Oh, first try. All right. Looks like we're going to bake the pie shell for 8 to 10 minutes. So we want to perforate some holes here, because if you bake it and you don't, the bottom will puff up. So now we put it in the oven, middle rack. I've never made chocolate marshmallow pie. I don't even know if I've ever tried chocolate marshmallow pie. So I'm kind of excited to see how it turns out, and if I can make this recipe on my first try, you guys can make it at home. Let's see if this melts the marshmallows. So good thing we know how to edit video here. It's going to take a little while. We can crop it out so I'm not standing here all awkward, kind of fill conversation. And we'll be back when the marshmallows are melted. We'll add in the chocolate chips. Okay, so we've been melting the marshmallows and chocolate for, it's been about 10 minutes. I'll show you what the consistency is supposed to look like, but what I did was I heated the water to boiling. Once it was boiling, I cranked it down, and now I'm running it at about like a little in between medium and low. So about a level 2 on my dial on my stove. So we kind of got this globy stuff. You can see that you can't differentiate the marshmallows and the chocolate chips. They're all melted in. It doesn't look like much pie filling here, which is interesting. I wonder how thick this pie is going to be. We're going to find out. And as well, it uses gelatin, which is really sticky. I probably would have added a little milk. Would have been a little more liquidy, and then I believe the gelatin would have firmed it up at the end, so it wouldn't have been an issue. But I'm going off the recipe I was given, so here we go. There we go. Let's see how that turns out. This is looking good. Start off low always with your mixer. You don't want to make a huge spraying mess. And then once it's combined, you can crank up the speed. Okay, it looks like our pie shell is done. Okay, now the recipe says we need to dissolve some gelatin in some water and then pour it into this mixer because we need it thickened. I'm going to use the water and I'll put it in the microwave probably a little bit faster. 2 teaspoons of water, 1 teaspoon of gelatin here. And I'm not sure what you could substitute for gelatin. I know a lot of people don't eat gelatin. I've got a couple friends that don't eat it. I don't know what other thickening agent you can use. Cornstarch maybe. And we'll see how it turns out. So I've got the gelatin heating up in the microwave with the water. A tip for you. If you've ever used gelatin, don't smell it. It stinks. I recommend not smelling the gelatin, just putting it in the food and eating it. Don't smell it. It stinks. It stinks bad. Last stage right here. Oh, that stuff stinks. Okay, I think our mixture is finished. Let's take a look here. Whisk off. Pour it in this pre-cooked pastry shell, and we'll throw it in the fridge for about an hour, and we'll come back and see what it's like. All right, give it this little whirl so we can fill the edges uniformly here. And there it is. Chocolate marshmallow pie. Never made this before. We're gonna pop it in the fridge for an hour, it says. We'll let it set, we'll come back. We'll show you what the final product looks like. The next recipe, or the second recipe for the Best in Kamloops Christmas Treat Challenge, is brought to you by Ryanna T. Hopefully I pronounced her name correctly. Ryanna, R-Y-A-N-N-A. Ryanna T submitted a sugar cookie recipe with some cream cheese frosting. And here's what she has to say about her recipe. I find that the sugar cookie reminds me when I was a child. We decorated sugar cookies as a family. It brings families together. This is my most popular Christmas baked good we offer. And you wonder, what do you mean she offers? So I found Ryanna on Facebook. It's a mother-daughter baking page. I came across the page. I reached out and said, hey, I have a contest. I would like people to submit some recipes. So I'll leave a link in the description on YouTube. If you want to get to that Facebook page, check it out. Baking in Kamloops is pretty awesome. Being a mom to 3 little kids, sugar cookies gives me the opportunity to bake and have a fun time baking and then decorating them with sprinkles. And it allows the kids to show their creative side. Fantastic idea. Okay, before we start the sugar cookie recipe, I noticed when reviewing my footage, when I was making the chocolate marshmallow pie, I was leaving this nice sweater exposed. And I think it's pretty awesome. I really like it. My friend Erica was nice enough to buy me this sweater for my birthday. And the last thing I want to do is spill something on this sweater, and then I gotta hear about it for the next X amount of years. So thank you for the sweater, but I'm gonna cover it up with an apron. That way I don't have to hear any bickering. So here we go. Should have had this on last time. Kids, safety first. So we're gonna do wet ingredients into the bowl first, and I'm gonna do dry ingredients in a separate bowl. I'm gonna mix them at the end. So I'm gonna hit this for a few seconds. Okay, we're gonna put 3 tablespoons of milk. 1, 2, 3. We've got a problem. A lot of clumpy butter, but we can knock it down. Give it another mix. Here we go. What was that? The butter, that's what happens when you crank up your mixer too high. I think this says 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, but with vanilla, I always just put a lot in. I don't really get too precise with my vanilla. I don't think there's going to be issues with flavoring when you add a little bit extra vanilla. So I just got these eggs. Like, I usually buy like higher end eggs. I don't like cheap eggs because it has like this weird yellow yolk when you buy cheap eggs. I don't mind paying a little extra money to get a nice orange egg like this. Looking a little strange. So if you know why this is looking like this, feel free to let me know in the comments. Hey, buddy, how can you mess up a cookie? 3 cups flour. This is a 1/2 cup, so we're gonna do 6 of these bad boys. And some people use a knife to even it out, scrape it off. I just kind of use the side of the bag. It's a little faster for me. It's like snowing on this table here, like Tony Montana. All right, that's about 1/2 cup. Let's do a little less. And that should be a cup of sugar. Holy sugar. 1, 2, 3, and 2 teaspoons of salt. So we'll stir this up, and then we're gonna mix it into this wet ingredients. We'll get this mixed. Okay, our butter mixture is looking very, very strange. Hopefully it mixes in with our dry. And let's get this in here. Geez Louise. All right, let's go 1/2 and 1/2 here. Try that. And after we get the cookies baked, we got to make some icing. But I think this dough's looking pretty good to me. Getting another 30 seconds. What we're gonna do is take the dough, just knock it off the edges of this paddle here. One I need to waste. This dough's actually smelling pretty good, but it looks like the dough came together. So we'll just take this dough, probably make it into a smaller size ball. Maybe the size of the old Timbit would be a good idea. I think most people know what a Timbit looks like. I think Bieber would be jealous of these sugar cookies. Get these rolled up. Okay, we've flattened out these cookies. I've got 8 on the tray. I've got way more here. I could probably make, I think, 3 batches of 8. 8 times 3, 8, 16, 24 cookies. The recipe does not say how many it yields, but I'm guessing somewhere around 24. Let's get these things in the oven, and we'll be back in what, 6 minutes it says, to take a look. Okay, as you can hear, the oven's going crazy. That should be 6 minutes. I believe that's what the recipe calls on. I usually overbake my cookies. I'm going to trust the recipe on this one. Let's have a little peek. That's what they look like. We will get our cream cheese frosting going. I'll toss this in here. And 4 cups of icing sugar, a concerning amount. Yeah, got 1/2 cup here. We need 8 of these guys. Holy doodle. Veteran move right there with the scissors. 8 of these, huh? Let's do 7.5. Let's not do 8. 7.5. There, it should be good. Let's try that. And mix it up, and then we're gonna put a little vanilla in there. It's like a cloud of sugar in the air. Holy. I can taste the air. Like I can see the smoke and like I can taste sweet. Let's get this mixed up. A little dash, little dab will do ya, huh? And it says half a teaspoon vanilla. Like I said, I don't measure vanilla, I just put it in. That looks good. All right, knock some of this off and I'll give it another stir. This is looking really good actually. Holy doodle. I don't want to call the contest right now, but this is looking tasty. Okay, there you have it. The frosting, I think you can see that from the overhead cam. We've got the cookies, I'll bring them over. Should be cool enough to put on the table. There are the sugar cookies. There's the frosting. We will get these things topped with frosting. We will get the chocolate marshmallow pie out of the refrigerator. We'll get these things laid out. We'll taste them. We'll find out once and for all. We'll declare a champion right here. Stay tuned.
Make sure you tune into our next episode when we pit against two Titan Christmas treat recipes, chocolate marshmallow pie and the sugar cookies, to once and for all find out who has the best Christmas recipe in Kamloops. Winning recipe revealed on December 29th. Only on Best in Kamloops YouTube.